We just came up the hills celebrating the birthday of what would have been the 72nd birthday of Chairman Fred Hampton, who was the deputy chairman of the North Chapter Black Panther Party, who was assassinated December the 4th, 1969, along with the Fish Captain Mark Clark. We honored to have his widow, his comrade, who was there with the Chicago police under the direction of the FBI when they shot over 99 rounds inside that house.
Yes, sir.
She literally felt the shells come through the mattress and covered down over. This is my first selling, my first jail selling. And I spoke about it a number of times, and I don't think it'll never get redundant, but I said before and I said again, our prenatal care as opposed to Dr. Stethoscope was a Chicago Police Department involved with the impressed my mother's pregnant belly. She's 89 months pregnant. I was born approximately 25 days after that assassination. And you know, probably in some sense would be like, I guess, quote unquote idea if that was an aberration, if that was just some fluke just happened in regards to the police. If this was, as we say, December 4th being one of our September 11th stories, that was just one isolated act of terrorism against our people. But the bad reality is, I'm connected to a lot of people that crosses colonial borders. In other words, not just in Chicago. I'm connected to a lot of people that have been terrorized. There's not even cognizant of the fact that they're being terrorized. In fact, we terrorize so much to the point that we terrified to say that we terrorize. People who terrorize under such euphemisms as slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, police brutality. That's a euphemism. The reality is police terrorism. Sometimes you hear these words, these terms, these 41 years, and we even can become stoic with even hearing those words and terms. You know what I'm saying? We can kind of quote unquote get used to it when we hear in our community. You think about that, you know what I'm saying? Because as Asada Shakur said, well, being oppressed, one of the things about being oppressed, you should struggle to be able to distinguish what's normal and what's abnormal. It should never become normal if we become immune to the fact about hearing about on the west side of Chicago, the police kicking through doors at 4:30 in the morning, and just, you know, from the front doors and the back doors, coming to Illinois Bell phone trucks with a diagram so detailed they even knew what pack of cigarettes might likely be at. And going in, you know what I'm saying, and putting up assassinations, and it's never become, you know, so we should never become immune to hearing about or seeing the images of dealing with Africa, you know what I'm saying, with his arms up, you know what I'm saying, and the attacks that went down in Philadelphia on the move, family, and then them being criminalized. Ramona Africa being locked up, serving time for committing the quote unquote crime of surviving and still standing up. Should never become normal to us about just even a cliche is to us about a bomb being dropped on our people. And not time we say, you know, we say certain, you know, catchphrases or something to get a certain emotion, but literally, a bomb. This is my first time, you know what I'm saying, meeting Janine Africa, you know what I'm saying, but to connect right in and understanding that ain't no guarantee tomorrow's for us, y'all. And as Linda said in Revolutionary, Linda said it takes people 20 years to learn in ordinary times. They can learn in 2 years of revolutionary times. That's right. And to be able to, we see each other, stick and move, you know what I'm saying, get right in. Yes. Say, okay, I know your resume, I may not even get it directly. It's context clues, dialectical materialism, you know what I'm saying? This force knows that force is like a connection. Yes. I know what you did with this campaign. And a lot of times you look at certain dynamics, you say, out of state, who they attack. Yes, sir. They have to do a lot of, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people talk about, well, I don't know, what about this person? You look at, I'm sure like a lot of the Crips, they get some questions about some Bloods, and they say, man, them dudes ain't no problem. Nobody, them other guys, they don't even be sweating them dudes. They feel comfortable when they come around the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? They ain't never, Like, you know what I'm saying? Like during the era of chattel slavery, you come over there, where you came from? You pop on the plantation, you know what I'm saying? He's straight, no scars in his back, clothes, you know, straight up and everything, you know, come out there, master's finest, threads. You know what I'm saying? You really ain't tripping, you don't present no problem. We come from the cloth for some people that's presented some problems.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We come from the cloth for people who have been given some problems
Yes, sir.
and just ain't just taking it lightly.
Yes, sir.
And not just for us individuals, but you know what I'm saying, connecting, exposing, stepping for other people that got some problems. We got some problems, y'all.
Yes, sir.
That's intense. We got some problems. We got some problems with. We got some dates. They call them outer space dates. They talking about telling us they give us the runaround. The cases, you know what I'm saying, when we out with Jamal and so many other forces. We got some problems. They tell us that they're gonna take this house September 9th. We here today, y'all, to directly from the people about these problems, and hope we can say call them one of our most valuable resources to help us deal with these problems.
Yes, sir.
Right on?
Right on.
Free them all. Yes. The call came out. The bank's talking about taking this house September 9th. The house that Chairman Free Hampton grew up in. Houses across the street, we went to elementary school in. You know what I'm saying? And we connected. We have a camaraderie. That when we talk about this, it's not in an isolated way. You know what I'm saying? We kick the door in. Once we start the conversation, it's time. We're not letting you go. We talking about the case of the move now. We talking about the case of your brother, sister down the street. It's interconnected.
That's right.
So we need y'all assistance addressing these problems. You know, I want Janine Africa, y'all. 41 years. 41 years. Just come home. Just come back for 41 years. Just come back for 41 years. Still fighting, still standing. Right on. Right on. On the move. On the move.
Free them all.
Free them all. Free them all.
You know, it's just like Chairman Fred Hampton said, the call came out and we came to answer because when our family put the call out for us, y'all answered.
Right.
And we can't do no more than give back what y'all gave to us. And it's important to us because we've been through this, like he said. You know, in August 8th, 1978, when they attacked Move, they tore that house down.
That's right.
And they tore our house down because they said they didn't want it to be a rallying point.
That's right.
May 13th, when they bombed our family, they burnt that house to the ground.
Right.
They burnt it to the ground because, like they said, they didn't want that house to be a rallying point. They're repeating the history here. They want to take that house. They want that house destroyed because it's a symbol. It's a symbol because of the fight, the stand that the Panthers have been taking. It's for the community. And that's something that this system has kept from people. I've told people, even with myself, I never understood the meaning of the Black Panthers, the message they were given, what their purpose was. And it was deliberate, just like with Move, because a lot of people don't know what Move is about, because they did the same thing with us. They clouded the message. So people heard Move, they looked at us a certain way. Just like when people hear Black Panthers, they think a certain way. And it's deliberate because they don't want the communities to unite. They don't want the communities to see that they have some strong leaders, somewhere to go for assistance. They want the communities to feel separated, alone, and hopeless, because then they can control us. And that's why it's important to protect the history of people that want to help the communities. And this is why we came out, for people to understand and help save the Hampton house, because you're not talking about saving a building. You're talking about saving a meaning, a purpose, you know, and you've got to have that. The community's got to have something.
Yes.
You've got to have something. Look at our kids now, running the streets, shooting each other down for a street block, a pair of sneakers, a pair of earrings. You know, the children need a strong example that they can look to, that can direct them and show them that you want a pair of sneakers, that's fine, but that's not your life. That's not your life. You don't kill somebody for a pair of sneakers. They don't understand that. They don't understand that. And I see and I start understanding just from being around the Black Panther Party. I see what they're trying to do in the communities. I see it in their kids. You know, I've been around their children for 3 days, and I see how far they've taken their children, just like we've taken our children. And I see how their children are, and I see how a lot of children in the community are, and the community need to get what these children are getting. And that's what that house represents. Just like your prophet was telling you, unity is the most dangerous weapon that we have as a people.
That's right.
And they have been trying to stop this. That's what the whole thing about MOVE was about, because John Africa was going out in the communities having MOVE people give the people the truth about this system. And that's a threat.
Yes, it is.
And you need to look at that when you see the extreme measures they took to kill off a family. You know, they bombed a neighborhood and let it burn to the ground. Why? When you look back and check it out, our family didn't have any criminal charges against them. They didn't have any weapons. And the day that they attacked and bombed our family, our children were out in the park. They knew the habit of our children.
Yeah.
They let our children come back in that house. Waited for them to come
That's
back
right.
from the park
That's right.
so that they would be in that house when they attacked.
Right.
And when our brothers was bringing the children out, Ramona said she could hear the police shooting them back
Right.
into the house.
Right.
And when they had a commission hearing about that day, they testified that they felt like the children was just as much as a threat as the adults,
Yes.
which is why they shot them back into that house. This is the threat to them: unity, truth. And even though we had to go through the things that we went through, we knew what we was facing. We knew we were the vanguard. And we were asked if we could handle that, and we committed ourselves to that. All right? But it don't make it no easier, don't justify it. We didn't deserve what was done to us, but we had to take that stand to show the world what you're dealing with. It is because of the attack August 8th, 78. It is because of the bombing in May 1985 that the world, the whole world, looks at this government a whole different way. When we first surfaced in Philadelphia, they called us crazy. They called us violent. They said we was dirty, nasty,
Right.
because they were egged on to this
Right.
thinking
Right.
by the media, who was controlled by the government. And they did it deliberately
That's right.
because they wanted people to not get upset about what they were planning to do to us.
Right.
Set the stage.
And the same thing happened with the Panthers. They set that stage.
Right.
They made everybody think all the Panthers wanted to do was start a war, kill cops. So
That's right.
people kind of backed up and felt like, well, whatever happened to them, they
deserve
called
it.
it. They
That's
called
right.
that on themselves.
That's right.
Okay, so now, did those young black men that got shot in the back of the head in the streets, did they cause that?
Right.
Did the little boy in his mother's house, thinking that he was playing cops and robbers when the cops come in with a toy gun, that he deserved to be shot 7 times in his own home? You know, you gotta realize they use the same tactics.
Right.
They make you feel like they're justified when they slay you and shoot you down, and that's what make people not resist. It's what make people accept. Even though it hurts and they be angry, you'll hear him. He shouldn't have been out there. He shouldn't have been selling them cigarettes on the corner. The police was just trying to restrain him, and he got choked to death because he was selling cigarettes. This is the state that this system has people in. And that's why people like MOVE, the Panthers, and anybody else you see coming together to try to direct the communities are needed for, because somebody got to help give that information. Revolution has to start with information, because how you going to take that stand to correct what's wrong if you don't even know what's wrong? You see what I'm saying? This is the message that John Africa gives. This is the message that Fred Hampton, Chairman Fred Hampton, was trying to give. And you see what they do. You see what they do. You know, they attacked us 3 o'clock in the morning. They dropped a bomb on our family from the sky. They went in there and shot them brothers down when they were in the bed.
That's right.
So who's the terrorist? What?
Good question. Say it again, sister.
Who is the terrorist?
Say it again.
Who is the terrorist?
The conversation, Pam.
Stand over here with your mother.
Yes. On the move.
And I'm sitting here, looking at my sister, Aku and Jerry.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the walls in the house is a picture of her and Chairman Fred Jr. as a child. Deborah Johnson, who encountered Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. as, I don't know whether he was 18 at the time, but I know at 19, the horrors that you witnessed. She came there behind the fact of the problems in the community. The breakfast program is feed their children, the police brutality, all the other different problems, the health issues and things that are happening in the prison. I mean, you know, what was happening in the prison and on the street. Looking at a woman who's sitting here who was terrorized 50 years ago.
Right.
A 19-year-old child.
Pregnant.
Pregnant. And to be woken in the middle of the night, early in the morning, with gunshots going, coming up through the floorboards.
Right.
And, throwing her body over top of her husband to protect him.
Right.
And, through an act of God.
That's right.
And the source.
There you go.
That's
And,
right, ride or
allowed
die.
her.
That's right.
Say that again.
Ride or
Right.
die.
Right, because
That's right.
they meant to kill her as well too, but they didn't because they couldn't.
They could. There you
And
go.
my sister Janine, same thing. And I'm looking at these two women,
Right.
and and hearing them. The mere fact that the terrorism that they went through, and both of them came to the front line,
Right.
to
Right.
serve,
Right.
and to learn how to, because they didn't. They knew something had to be done.
Yes.
They didn't know
yes,
exactly
yes,
what, but they sought out
Yes.
a way
Yes.
of doing it.
Yes.
And in the process, because they was learning and learning well,
Yes.
the government came down and, assassinated Chairman Fred. My sister Janine, she lost a child March 16th, 1976. 3-week-old Life Africa, who was snatched out her arms, thrown to the ground, and murdered that day. And on August 8th, they came to the house, shot hundreds of thousands of pounds of ammunition into the house. I'm saying Janine didn't pick up and run then, because that's not the only thing that happened. There were babies before then. You sing Africa. Alberta, Africa, our sister, who's much shorter than me, on arrest and all for doing work to say, to protect the people by confronting the wrongs, was arrested, brought into a police station, and while they locked my sisters in a cell, they brought Alberta out spread her eggs. A black matron by the name of Robinson. Two guards spread my sister's legs wide open while she repeatedly kicked her in the womb until she miscarried. These women did not give up. Then they continued because they understood. And when you stop, when you give up, that's when you lose. That's when you lose. Then you have to keep going for the sake of the children and the people and all this behind them to expose this thing. You can't back up off this situation here. And you know, right after that, you know, the issue with the Panthers and them going around murdering, killing. This sister had her baby and she continued to raise him. 50 years of freaking terrorism. And because they didn't let up. My sister Janine did 41 years in jail, but long before that, and the beating, the maiming, the killing, the locking up, and you understand that, you know, there's a source that was so strong that gave Janine and other moved people the understanding that you cannot back down away from this thing. Because to back down away from it, and you know, all these children and elders, they don't stop at nothing. That was killed, they wasn't killed because they were speaking out. They were killed because that's what these people do. But the people who speak out, and you know, through some of the most horrible conditions, she raised this child. And she raised him in the likeness of the Father.
Right.
She didn't back down. And you know, because a lot of people tell me, yeah, Chairman Fred, I love Chairman Fred, like they said, Martin Luther King, and you know, everything everybody else. And you know, but during the time that they lived, and I'm not saying there wasn't people who were supportive of it, oh yes, there was. But the majority of them, you know, didn't become, you know, full force supporters until years later. And then, you know, you still have the apathetic people, you have the sympathetic people, and the I don't give a people. And but it didn't stop them. She went to jail. You know, her husband, was murdered in front of her. Mark Clark, she's walking through, she's seeing the blood, she's hearing all this stuff. She going to the prison by herself. The chairman. And you know, so we're passing out flyers today, right? And a lady pulls up in a car, and she said, "What's going on? I want to know, can I help?" Sister back here, the camera with the phone, and we walk over to the car. She said, "My name is Dorothy." She talked about the drugs, and see, this is what's missing about this story: the house, the Fred Hampton house. And because Fred wasn't living there, Akua wasn't living there, and another relative had the house that passed, and it was a drug den. That house and the other house, right across the street from the school. Right across the street from the school. It was a drug house. Brother on his way to the funeral of his uncle decided he would stop and go to that house. When he went in there, he said all he saw, it was a drug den. It was a shooting gallery. It was some of everything in there. And you know, he cleaned that neighborhood up.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, he
threw them out, cleaned the house up, and you know, and it's a dangerous thing
Yes, it
when you
is.
do this.
Yes, it is.
Jamil Alameen is an example of
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
And you know, over and over again of people who take the stand to run the drugs out to community. Look, the politicians didn't run them out. This is right across the street from the school.
They're not going to do it.
This sister, she could have did like a lot of people did when these kind of things happen. Took this brother and sent him off to some private school somewhere, and you know, and they talk about the father. The father could have been, you know, anybody senator, you know, in their dreams. And because it wasn't in him to do that, it was in him to
Yes.
fight.
Yes.
And he could have left that community and went somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he
Yes.
chose to fight there
Yes.
and to make an example there.
Yes.
The example that he made was so powerful. A 19-year-old Deborah Johnson, that with all the horrors that was brought upon her, here she is 50 years later and raised a child in the essence of the Father, and had brought together young folks. Look at these babies. That's what they were doing back then.
Yes.
And that's what they're
Yes.
doing now. And then there was some other people who came by the house yesterday, and they wanted Chairman Fred back over the way he lived at before. They said, since he's been over here, the drugs is back, the shootings is back. They said there was none then. We talking about saving the community
Yes.
and the
Yes.
mentality
Yes.
to make people want to rise up.
Yes.
And you know, I just need to take this moment and thank these sisters and brothers, and thank you too for having us here. And I am so proud to be the sister Janine Africa.
Yes, indeed.
And the
Yes,
sister,
indeed.
yes, I am.
Yes,
The stand that I saw them, 'cause let me tell you one thing. I was the person prior to this, real short, I was the person prior to this that, you know, was like, what is with them niggas on that corner? We used to call them the mop heads. Me and my father. And you know, they ain't about nothing. And you know, look at the way they dressed. And you know, and it was taught to me by our coordinator through Move People that, and back then we said Rizzo, but who was the filthy mayor up here, Daley?
Right.
He dressed in Brook Brothers suits and all them, you know, stuff like that, and you know, highly educated. But look what he did.
yes.
And
Yeah.
my sister dressed in, you know, clean clothes. But I looked at her, you know, and I'm like, nigga up there in them damn Wranglers. And you know, t-shirts all the time, nappy head. And let me tell you something. Rizzo, who was one of the worst hit-spitting son of the guns that ever walked the face of the earth, murder. He didn't care whether it was a grandmother, a baby, or what. His cops killed him, he had it. I went to his dinners, but I wouldn't go to theirs. I went to where he was at because of the miseducation. They will teach you to love your oppressor, the murderer, and look at the people who are saving our lives as if, you know, there's something wrong with them right now. And you know, if Chairman Fred Jr. had went another way, and he might have had a church, and you know, and wasn't as involved in the community in the way that he is now. And you know, he might be getting that money, they'd be calling up him. But because you continue to consistently fight this government and tell the truth, you know, I mean, yesterday I'm looking for cars to come riding up there, and you know, people to come hopping out there, dropping off donuts, and it was some. It was some. But I'm saying, you know, people always praying for God to send them something to save them. You know, and it was pointed out to me through Move again. And that if you want a glass of water and you're thirsty, you know, and the glass is sitting here, you can stand here and pray all you want. But you don't have that understanding that the prayer was answered when you had the strength to go over, lift that glass up, and drink. But people want people to do for them. We got elevators to elevators. And, you know, at one time, we used to be the damn doggone remote. Remember your daddy said, you know, baby, change that channel. And, you know,
Yes.
Now you sit there, you ain't got to say that. It take our strength away. And, you know, so I'm saying this to say, you know, your prayers is being answered. You know, this is one. And you know, give to those who give to you. Fight with those who fight for you. I want to say this: long live John Africa, long live, long live the power that pulled us all here together on the move.
On the move! On the move!
As Minister for the Honorable Silas Muhammad, I just want to say thank you.
That's right.
You know, this is proof that this fight is our fight. It's not a Muslim fight. It's not a Christian fight.
Come on now.
This is our fight.
Right.
And some of us really believe in being in the fight.
Yes, indeed.
Can't let this energy slack up, y'all. 'Cause I feel, as Chairman Fred say, too proletarian revolutionary intoxicated to be astronomically intimidated. Hey! Let me translate that for y'all. Too high of the people to be shook up. Yes, sir. Minister of Confrontation, Pam Africa. This is it.
Listen to my grandson back here, raining out.
I know what I'm saying. I'm articulate. I'm gonna lay it out. Mother Comrade of and Jerry. I feel fortunate.
Okay.
I feel fortunate to have fallen from the tree of two freedom fighters.
Here in Muhammad's Mosque, under the direction of the Honorable Silas Muhammad, we feel fortunate too. This award says, in the love and memory, gone but will never be forgotten. This is for you, Sister Africa.
Salute. Salute. Respect.
This says, gone but will never be forgotten. Save the Hampton house. This is for my brother. Chairman. These are just memos to express our love.
That's right.
For those that came here, our love for you that represent them. We thank you. The Honorable Silas Muhammad thanks you.
That's right.
We are going to free them all.
That's right.
We
That's
are
right.
going to win this battle.
That's right.
Allah continue to bless you and stay strong.
So I have a question to iterate again. And I know we got some scholars in the room can answer just like that. What was the basis for white world unity? Can somebody answer that for me?
Capitalism.
That's part of it. That's a good part of it. I like that, capitalism. But it's something deeper than that. Who said that? Yeah, religion. Religion. Throughout this whole diaspora of the world, of white world unity, they are united with the same religion. Either it's it is all Christianity. Either it's Catholicism, Protestantism, Methodist, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, or whatever you call it. It's still the basis called what? Christianity. Now I got another question for you. And I know we got scholars in here that can answer just like that. What is the basis for black world unity? Can somebody answer that for me? No question. Come on, Mom.
Suffering, oppression. Every day, wherever
No, we ain't gonna have no unity about suffering or being oppressed. No, that ain't gonna unify us. That ain't gonna unify. We suffering now, we ain't unified.
By the government.
We being oppressed now, we ain't got unity. Come on, what is the basis for our unity?
Government. Government.
We have to start our own government, a government governed by ourselves, because we're continue to suffer the oppression, as you just said. We will continue to suffer under the hand, trusting the white man to govern us. November 2020, everybody gonna be voting for a new president. Everybody go run to the polls trying to get Donald Trump out of the office, and Lucifer and Satan will still be in charge.
That's right.
Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
100% right.
So we have to start our own government. Whether you're a Black Panther, you're a new Black Panther, you're a Lost Foundation of Islam, or you're Nation of Islam, we do not have a government. Reparations cannot be paid to us unless we have a government. Reparations are paid from one government to another. Reparations ain't paid to organization to another organization. Chinese has a government. If they get dissatisfied with America, they can always run back to China. Japanese have a government. If they get dissatisfied with America, they can always go back to Japan. African Americans, you get dissatisfied and we are dissatisfied. Can we all go back to Africa? So we have to have that government. That's all I want to say. And I thank Chairman Fred for bringing all of you out. You look beautiful. But we asking that all these organizations come together as one. And we call it Afro-descendant government, where we have a House, which is called a Congress. We have senators. We have a president, a vice president, and things of that. And we have a monarch inside of that government.
Okay, yeah. I've come here today. I've met Sister, what's your name again? I'm sorry. Akua. Yes, and this was lovely right here. I heard about the story, but I didn't know. So now I do, and I think it's going to help us get further to the goal, you know, and we all must stick together, you know, and silence, as was said, you know, and pray on what's coming next, because it's coming and it's coming fast.
All right, now this is Janine Africa, Minister of Education for the MOVE organization, and one of the MOVE 9 that was just released from prison after 41 years for a crime I did not commit. I came here in support of the Hampton House, and while I was here, I learned what I always knew, that everybody's connected, everybody has to come together, and that's the message that was given here today. Unity, without unity, there is no hope. And that's what I heard the message here today.
It's Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., the Black Panther Party Cubs. I'm honored to be here with Cool and Jerry, the widow of Chairman Fred Hampton. Also Minister of Confrontation Pam Africa, the MOVE family, also Janine Africa, and also members of the Black Panther Party Cubs. We're here in the present time right now. We're here less than 10 days away, in which state, the banks, the VA, the banks are trying to take their childhood home with Chairman Fred Hampton. We call on your support. We need your support. If you get, put the word out, GoFundMe.com/Save the Hampton House 50. GoFundMe.com/Save the Hampton House 50. Also Chairman Fred Jr. at gmail.com via PayPal. As we say, it's bigger than the building, more significant than the structure. Save the home that Chairman Fred Hampton grew up in. Love and respect.